What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another video right here on the Crypto Grind channel. This is this week's Patreon pick, and my patrons have gone with Vaiot. So not necessarily the newest coins, but an update on where the project is and whether or not it is still worthwhile actually getting into this project. So if that's something that interests you, make sure you're watching all the way to the end of the video. If you're not already a subscriber, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button and of course the bell notification so you know when another video goes live. So jumping straight in, we are down quite a bit from where we were at the beginning of the year. As you can see here, around about January, February time when it peaked, we were sitting at 23 cents. So, about a 4x down from where we were at the beginning of the year. Some people might be concerned, but I actually am not. All I'm thinking is that these are perfect buying opportunities and the perfect times for picking up a coin that is really, really good. All in all, we're sitting in a market cap still of $16 million, which is pretty low, extremely low in my opinion. Considering where this can go in the future, I do believe that this is still a potential 100x from this point, which is a great return for a great project. We have a circulating supply of nearly 70%, which is also really, really good. So it's strong. You're not expecting anything in terms of rug pulls. So you can be confident that you're buying into a project that has solid foundations, a really good team, a good distribution of coins. So it's a really low risk buy, in my opinion, for really, really, really good returns. So although it is down a lot from what we have seen previously, it's not the end of the world. I wouldn't panic. I would still be looking at the fundamentals. If you're not too familiar with Vaiot, we will go through it a little bit now in this video, but I do have other videos up on my channel that you can go ahead and check out if you want a bit more detail about the coin. We're just going to touch on a few things that have come up recently about Vaiot, not necessarily do a deep dive, which I have done before. Now, before we go any further, if you haven't already, check out my Patreon. We are coming up to the end of this quiet period for cryptos. And if you want last minute advice when it comes to buying the correct projects to maximize your profits, my Patreon is the place to be. My patrons have had a pretty good August and July. They have seen some pretty big returns from the projects that I have recommended. So if you want to make good returns, short term and long term, make sure you're getting into my Patreon, all the way from the lowest sort of tier where you just get my videos early up to the ultimate where you get one-on-one consultations with myself, joining into the best VIP Telegram groups in the business, in my opinion. So go ahead, check it out. There is definitely something for everybody. I have buy alerts, sell alerts, accumulation. You can have my portfolio, access to my portfolio, and even consideration lists on coins that I'm watching, but not necessarily bought into yet. All right, so moving on to Vaiot, what I actually wanted to do is have a look at the roadmap because they have recently updated it, which is quite nice. I do like to see continued progression. So where we're at the moment, they've launched on the Polygon mainnet, which is fantastic at the beginning of this year. And now they've added a few more things that we can be seeing for the rest of the year. So they're going to be integrating the AI legal assistant into ChatGPT-4, which is pretty big. We know how big GPT-4 is. And of course, this will just be a really good stepping stone and launchpad for Vaiot. Part of the Q3 rollout is the launch of ZK Snarks over here, integration for contractual data, privacy, and certification. Now, why that is pretty important, I have found this news article that has essentially said that hackers are targeting law firms when it comes to data. Law firms obviously have a lot of privacy, a lot of data that they need to keep private for obvious reasons. And that's why hackers are targeting them for more and more money and holding them ransom. And this is exactly where the blockchain can come in and can be very useful in trying to prevent that. These ZK snarks obviously are really good in terms of privacy as well, so it offers that extra layer of protection and comfort to law firms and their customers. And it's another reason why I am bullish on Vaiot and why I do think that Vaiot can still perform a really good service and why it's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. So if we have a look as well, the rest of the year, we've got payback integration for the legal assistant. We've now also got a beta launch for the legal assistant, which is great. And that's heading into the beginning of next year. And of course, then we're going to have the bull run coming as well. And a lot of these things are going to be deploying in the height or moving into the start of the bull run, and then obviously moving into the height of the bull run as well. So we've got a lot coming up for Vaiot. We've got a fantastic team. If you have a look at their partners in the actual network, they've got, and these are legitimate partnerships as well. I'm going to put that out there. It's not just putting pictures on a website and saying that these are our partners. These are legitimate partners for Vaiot. They've got Chainlink, Microsoft, IBM, Dowmaker. The list just goes on and on for all their different partnerships and the groups that they are associated with. They have also been audited by one of the biggest audit firms in the world, being Grant Thornton, which does give that obvious extra sort of bit of comfort, along with the fact that they are regulated in Malta, with further regulations coming in other markets. So just lastly, obviously looking at their socials, one thing that I do always do, they've got a really nice following that is growing steadily. They are always communicative with their community as well, which is great. They have AMAs. This is the second part of one that they did with KuCoin, one of the biggest in the world, obviously, when it comes to exchanges. So they are continuously improving their service product. They are improving themselves, and they are communicating with their community, which is great to see. So all in all, I don't think Vaiot is a bad buy. Don't be scared off. It is probably one of the best ways, that opportunities that you have to make a 100x from here. But that's everything that I'm going to be talking about in this video. If there's something else that you would like me to review, of course, drop it down in the comments. I might be checking out one or two. Of course, if you would like to join the Crypto Grind community, I do have a link for the free Telegram down below. The Patreon link is in the description as well. So if that's something that interests you, make sure you check it out. Otherwise, I will see you in the next one.